There is a single lost secret in the old Japanese way of living, and once you understand it, the loud world grows softer, and your own heart grows calmer, and in time happier. It is not a supplement or a trick or a thing you buy. It is four small syllables that a person can carry for a lifetime, and I have carried them for most of mine. Sit with me a while. Slow down. Let me tell you where I first felt this secret take hold of me, on a mountain road that men have walked for 400 years. I came to a place called Magome to find it. Magome is a post town, one of the old resting places along the Nakasendo, the inland highway that once linked Kyoto and Edo, the city we now call Tokyo. It is commonly counted as the 43rd of the Nakasendo's post towns, set high in the Kiso Valley where the mountains fold close and the air smells of cedar and rain. In the old days, a traveler walking that long road would reach a town like this at dusk, worn from the climb, and stay a single night before rising to walk on. One night, that was all. They would share a meal and a fire with strangers they had never met and would never meet again, and by morning the road would carry everyone their separate ways. The whole town was built around meetings that happened once and never again, and I think that is why the secret I came to speak of lives so easily here. I stayed in a wooden house called Tawareya, the kind of home that has stood for generations. Upstairs, the natural light came in soft and full and filled the room. There was no bed to be seen. The bedding waited behind the sliding fusuma doors, folded away, so that the room could be a sitting room by day and become a bedroom only when you were ready to sleep. There was a bathtub made of hinoki, the pale cypress wood, and it was meant only for soaking, not for washing. A place to sit warm and still, and let the day loosen out of your shoulders. From the window I could see the whole Kiso Valley and the mountains beyond it, and I sat there a long time, doing nothing, which is a thing we have almost forgotten how to do. My name is Kenji Sato, raised by my grandmother in the old ways of Japan, and I share the quiet wisdom that brings a still mind to a loud world. So if that is what your heart has been reaching for, consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Now let me tell you the name of this secret. The secret is called Ichigo Ichi. The characters that make up the phrase mean, roughly, one life, one meeting. You will often hear it translated as one time, one meeting, or simply once in a lifetime. The heart of it is this. Every meeting between people, every gathering, every ordinary moment happens only once and can never be repeated exactly. And because it can never be repeated, it is precious beyond measure. The cup of tea you are drinking now will never come again. The face across the table, lit just this way, in just this light, with just these words between you, will never gather in quite this shape again. Ichigo Ichi asks you to meet that truth not with sadness but with tenderness, to give the moment in front of you your whole and undivided heart, because it is the only one of its kind that will ever exist. Let me sit with that a moment longer because there is a great gentleness in it that people miss at first. When we hear that a thing will never come again, our first feeling is often a small grief, a tightening, a wish to hold on. But Ichigo Ichi is not asking you to grieve. It is asking you to arrive. It turns the passing nature of things from a source of loss into a reason for love. If this hour will not return, then this hour deserves your eyes and your ears and your whole heart, not the leftover scraps of attention you give it while your mind runs ahead to the next thing. My grandmother, who raised me in the old ways, never once said these four syllables to me as a child. She simply lived them. When she poured tea, she poured it as though it were the most important act in the world, and for those few breaths it was. When she listened to me, a small boy with small troubles, she listened as though nothing else existed. I did not have a word for what she was doing. I only knew that near her, the loud world went still, and I felt safe, and I felt seen. It was many years before I learned that the thing she carried had a name, and that it had come down to us through the way of tea. This idea came to fame through the tea ceremony, the practice we call Chanoyu, the way of tea. It is closely bound to the great tea master Senno Rikyu and to his line, including his descendant Sotan, who carried the spirit of tea forward. The phrase itself was set down in writing in the 19th century by Inaosuke, a tea practitioner and statesman, in his work on the tea gathering, often referred to as the Chanoyu Ichi Shu. Inaosuke wrote that even if host and guest were to meet many times in their lives, each single gathering could never be repeated, and so the host should prepare with utter sincerity, holding nothing back, and the guest should receive that care knowing it would never come again. That is the seed of the whole idea. It grew in a tea room, over a bowl of green tea, among people who understood that an afternoon once spent is spent forever. Think about what kind of world a tea gathering really is. A few people kneel together in a small room. There is a kettle, a bowl, a whisk, some tea, a flower, a scroll. Almost nothing happens by the measure of a busy modern day. No business is done, no entertainment is provided. And yet those who practice it will tell you that a single gathering can hold more life than a whole crowded week, because everyone in the room has agreed to be entirely present, to treat these particular hours as unrepeatable, to give and receive care with full attention. That is the whole art. Not the utensils, not the rules, not the graceful movements, though those matter. The heart of it is the agreement to be here, fully, once. And it grew in a country that has always known things do not last, a land of earthquakes and fires and falling blossoms, where people learned long ago that the way to make peace with a fragile world is not to cling harder but to love more completely the thing that is in front of you now. In the tea room, every small thing is chosen for that one gathering and no other. The scroll hung on the wall, the single flower placed in its vessel, the bowl, the bamboo whisk, the iron kettle, all of it is selected with intention for these particular guests on this particular day. Nothing is generic, nothing is careless. When the tea is served to you, you turn the bowl in your hands before you drink, rotating it so that you do not sip from its front, the finest face of the bowl, which is offered toward you as a gift. Turning it is a quiet act of respect toward the host who made the tea and toward the bowl itself. And when you reach the last of the tea, you draw that final sip with a soft sound, and that sound is not rudeness. It tells the host that the tea was good, that you have finished, that the gathering has been received with gratitude. Every gesture says the same thing. This will happen only once, so let us do it with our whole hearts. I want you to feel how far this reaches beyond the tea room, because that is the real gift of it. Not far from Tawaraya, there are two waterfalls, the Odaki and the Meraki, the male and female falls, tumbling down through the green. There is an old ascetic practice tied to such places, called Takigyo, in which a person stands or sits beneath the falling water and simply endures it. The cold is fierce, the water strikes hard. And in that hardness, the mind is stripped of its endless wandering and pulled into a single point, the present, the now, the only place any of us can truly live. The practitioner is not punishing the body. He is training the heart to stay here, in this one moment, instead of drifting off into worry about tomorrow or regret about yesterday. That is Ichigo Ichi made physical. The water will fall only once, in exactly this way, and to stand beneath it is to agree to be fully present for it. Then there is the food, and I think this is where I understood the secret in my own hands rather than only in my head. In Mugome, they make a dish called Gohei Mochi. You take rice and pound it, not until it is smooth like a paste, but until it is half crushed, still holding some of its grain, and then you shape it by hand and press it onto a flat wooden skewer. You grill it over a fire until the surface hardens and takes on color, and then you brush it with a glaze of sweet and savory miso. Sometimes miso work together with ground walnuts, and let it grill again until it catches and caramelizes. The smell alone will stop you on the road. But here's the thing that struck me. Each one is shaped by hand, so no two are ever alike. The ridges of your fingers, the pressure you used, the exact edge that met the flame, all of it is unrepeatable. That grilled rice cake, that precise one, could not be made again anywhere on earth, not by me, not by anyone. To eat it is to taste Ichigo Ichi. Each bite is a once-only meeting between you and something that will never exist again. You see how the whole town keeps teaching the same lesson from every direction? The one-night stay of the traveler, the room that becomes a bedroom only for tonight, the bath you soak in as the light fills over the Kiso Valley, the water that falls in is gone, the rice cake no hand can copy, and beneath them all, the tea gathering that gave the idea its name. Magome does not lecture you about presence, it simply lives it, and if you slow down enough, it teaches you without a single word. Now I want to turn from the mountain road toward your own life, because a secret that stays on a mountain is of no use to anyone. Ichigo Ichi is not only a lovely philosophy to admire from a distance, it is, more than anything, an emotional discipline. It is a way of holding your attention, and attention is the one truly scarce thing each of us has been given. We live now in a loud world, a world of endless small demands, of screens that pull at us, of days that blur together because we are never fully inside any single hour of them. We eat while looking at our phones, we talk to the people we love, while half our mind is somewhere else. We move through whole afternoons and cannot later remember a moment of them, because we are never really there. And a life not fully lived in its moments does not feel like a calm life. It feels thin and hurried and strangely empty, even when nothing is wrong. I do not say this to shame anyone, least of all you, because I have lived it too. There were years when I chased more and more work, more plans, more things to see, believing that a full life meant a crowded one. I would finish a day exhausted and unable to name a single moment I had truly been inside. The trouble was never that my life lacked events. The trouble was that I was never home in them. I was always a step ahead of myself, or a step behind, rarely standing in the doorway of the present where life actually happens. And the old teaching turned out to be right in a way I could feel in my body. A calm mind is not a mind with nothing in it. It is a mind that is fully in one place, doing one thing, meeting one moment. The scattered mind is the tired mind. The gathered mind, the one that has come home to now, is the mind that finally rests. The practice of Ichigo Ichi is the cure for that thinness, and it begins with a single decision. Do one thing at a time and give it your whole self. When you drink your morning tea, only drink your tea. Feel the warmth of the cup in your palms. Notice the color, the steam, the first taste. Let it be a small ceremony because it is one, whether you honor it or not. When someone speaks to you, put the phone down, turn your body toward them, and truly listen, because this exact conversation, with this person, in this mood, under the sky, will never be repeated. Even a dull errand, a walk to the shop, a wait at a crossing, becomes different when you decide to actually be present for it. The world does not grow quieter on its own. But when you place your whole attention on one thing at a time, the din inside your own head begins to settle, and that inner settling is the beginning of calm. Let me give you the smallest example because the small ones are the truest. This morning, before the sun was fully up, I made a single cup of tea. I heated the water and listened to it change its sound as it neared the boil, that soft shift the old tea people call the wind in the pines. I warmed the cup in my hands, I watched the color deepen in the water. I took the first sip and let it be the only thing in the world for the space of a few breaths. Nothing about it was remarkable. It was a plain cup of green tea on a plain morning in an ordinary house. And yet, because I was fully there for it, That cup gave me more calm than a long holiday given half-heartedly ever could. That is the secret hiding in plain sight. The moments are already here, arriving one after another, freely given. We are simply not present to collect them. Ichigo Ichi is the discipline of showing up for the life you already have. There is a companion idea in our tradition that makes Ichigo Ichi easier to hold, and it is called Mono no Aware. It means, in part, a gentle sensitivity to the passing of things, a tender awareness that everything is impermanent, that the cherry blossom is beautiful precisely because it falls. At first, this sounds like a recipe for sorrow. If everything passes, why grow attached at all? But it works the other way. When you truly accept that a moment cannot be kept, you stop clutching at it, and you stop demanding that it be other than it is, and you become able to simply receive it. The blossom is more beautiful, not less, because you know it will fall. The evening with an old friend is sweeter, not sadder, because you know such evenings are numbered. Accepting impermanence does not empty life of meaning. It fills each ordinary hour with a weight and a sweetness it never had, while you assume there would always be more time. There is a small danger I should warn you about, because I fell into it myself. When people first meet this idea, they sometimes try to turn every second into a grand and glowing occasion, straining to feel that each moment is special, and they wear themselves out trying to squeeze meaning from a cup of tea like water from a stone. That is not the practice. Ichigo Ichi is not a performance of feeling, it is a lightening of it. You do not have to force the moment to be beautiful. You only have to stop looking away from it. The rice cake in Magame did not need me to declare it profound. It only needed me to taste it, honestly, all the way, without my mind already halfway down the road. Presence is not effort piled on top of a moment. It is the effort we usually make to be elsewhere, finally set down. When you truly grasp that, a strange lightness comes. The pressure to make life extraordinary falls away, and the ordinary, met fully, turns out to have been enough all along. So let me leave you with a few gentle ways to live this. Starting today, in the middle of your ordinary life, choose one meal this week and eat it with no screen, no reading, nothing but the food and the company and your own attention, and taste it as if you had never eaten before. When you greet someone in your own home, greet them as a meeting that matters, because one day it will have been the last one, though we never know which. Make a small ceremony of one daily thing, your coffee, your walk, the moment you water a plant, and let that be the still point of your day. When you notice something lovely, a slant of light on the wall, the sound of rain, the steam rising off a cup, pause for the length of one breath and let yourself fully have it, rather than reaching straight for your phone to capture it. And when a hard moment comes, as it will, try to meet it too as something that will pass, holding it a little more lightly. And here is the gift that comes back to you when you live this way. The reason it leads not only to calm but to a deeper happiness. When you stop rushing past your moments, you stop feeling that life is slipping away from you unlived. So much of our modern unhappiness is really the ache of absence, the quiet sense that our days are passing while we look at something else. Presence heals that ache directly. When you are fully in your hours, they feel full. When you meet the people around you as unrepeatable, your bonds with them grow warmer, because people can feel when they are truly being met. And when you accept that nothing lasts, you begin oddly to want less, because the thing in front of you stops feeling like a poor substitute for something better elsewhere. Wanting less is its own kind of wealth. A person who can be content with a cup of tea and a good conversation is a person the loud world can no longer easily unsettle. None of this costs money. None of it asks you to leave your life and climb a mountain in the Kiso Valley, though I hope one day you do walk a road like the Nakasendo and feel what I felt there. The whole practice fits inside the life you already have. It asks only that you stop treating your moments as if they were endless and interchangeable, and start treating each one as what it truly is, a single meeting that will never come again. I think often now of standing on that old trail as the light went gold over the valley, the smell of grilled rice and miso still on the air, the sound of the falls somewhere below. I knew, standing there, that this exact moment, this light, this air, this quiet in my chest, could be experienced here and now and never again. It was, in the fullest sense, once in a lifetime. And the strange and beautiful thing is that this is not rare. Every moment is once in a lifetime. Every cup of tea, every conversation, every plain and unremarkable hour is a meeting that has never happened before and will never happen again. Ichigo Ichi simply asks you to notice. That is the lost secret, and it was never truly lost, only forgotten in the din of a hurried age. One life, one meeting. Meet this moment, the very one you are in right now, with your whole and undivided heart, and you will find the world grows gentler around you, and your own mind grows calm. And out of that calm, slowly and surely, comes a happiness that does not depend on anything you have to chase. Thank you for sitting with me a while. Be well, be present, and treat each meeting as the once only gift that it is.